my biggest trade are Aussie resource companies. So if you've had a look at the Aussie dollar lately, the Aussie dollar has gone from like 65 cents to 71 cents. So the Aussie dollar is strengthening versus the US dollar and other currencies. And that usually happens when we're going through a commodity cycle. So I've got a fairly significant investment now in Aussie uh, miners and producers. I've got a significant position in Bitcoin, which is my HODL Bitcoin that I've never sold. And I'm basically looking for opportunities to double down on both of those positions. So if we get corrections in commodities, I'll be adding to those positions. And I've already started adding to Bitcoin again. So my first ad was 88, 82. My second ad was 77. My third ad was 65. I've got some price targets in mind of where I think it's going, and I think that'll happen over the next 3 to 6 months. And so I'll be continuing to add and going bigger in that. So the goal is to kind of double down on both those hard assets and Bitcoin. And then the third thing that I've basically just started is an AI bottlenecks portfolio. So it's basically looking at, we spoke on this podcast about the $85 trillion infrastructure build out that's going to be required for AI to happen. And there's going to be bottlenecks across so many different vectors: commodities, chips, packaging, energy. And so I've basically used the LLMs to create a bottleneck ranking system, and I've started allocating to that. So that's another huge position for me. And I was showing you guys, I might share it one day as well, but I was showing you guys how I created it. And you said, well, like, so I think James asked the question, like, what's your goal with this? What's your objective returns? And quite simply, my objective returns is to beat Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin CAGR is at 29 to 30% a year, this portfolio has to beat that. Otherwise, I'm better off just investing in Bitcoin, right? So they're the three things I'm working on: commodities, Bitcoin, because I think Bitcoin is the ultimate. I mean, energy is the ultimate scarce asset, and Bitcoin is energy represented in digital format. And then you've got these AI bottlenecks, which is a little bit more techie specific, and Dubai, which is, I've got money sitting there waiting to invest in Dubai. I think
Just on the Bitcoin, and again, not financial advice, not predictions. Mark, we had a conversation around: is this the last? Is there one more flush to go to break through that down into the 50s? Where are you still on the fence there, or you think we found a bottom?
no, I my base case is not that we've found a bottom. I think there's two important price zones that I'm watching. It's that 54 to 58, and then 35 to 45. I think both those zones are in play. My base case is probably we go 35 to 45. Putting it out there. Next Tuesday, I'll drop a whole episode on my channel where I talk just about Bitcoin for basically the whole episode and how I got to those price predictions, what bull case, bear case, etc. And I share a bunch of charts. But yeah, I think lower is in play for sure. A lot of it depends on the macro as well. Like if we get a broader market sell off, it's so much easier to bring those lower figures in play. Or we might just get that one more tag down to 50, 54 to 58. The problem is when everyone starts saying it's going to go lower, like the easy money back in December, I basically said nothing good happens under 97. I was selling all my altcoins, selling all my family's Bitcoin, right? That was the easy prediction back then. Now the game gets so much harder. And you know what they say about picking bottoms? You get smelly fingers. So yeah, who knows? I think you have to have a plan. You have to have a plan.
I didn't know that, but I do now, and I think the audience will too. But thanks for that.
Oh, that's good.
I love that.
Yeah,
I appreciate you guys, Mark, sharing that, because like I know Raf as an example, like you said, you're some years behind us, right? Raf is sitting there, building up his business, right? Putting all his time, all his energy, all his resource in his business, and he's moved to Dubai for that reason at the same time, so he can go there, make as much money as possible, and then eventually probably, be back in Australia, maybe I know that's what you mentioned before, but like these are big decisions that people need to make, right? Like James and I have a big development that we have going on at the moment. It's a big decision, right? Like we're not talking $1, $2, $3 million, you know, it's a 21, $22 million, gross realized value. Like it's big numbers. But the thing is, you have to make big decisions, and every single one of us on this podcast is making big decisions every day. And I want you guys, the reason why we're talking about this isn't so we can big note ourselves and what moves that we're making. It's just take you a little bit in behind the scenes of what we're doing and showing you guys that we're actually making decisions. We're not just sitting there listening to podcasts. We're not just reading books, right? We're actually putting in the work and putting our balls on the line. That is the reality, right? It could be the wrong decision. I could be sitting here going, you know what, in 5 years time, Tesla doesn't do this, Bitcoin's still stagnant, and something happens in the UAE as an example. You just don't know, right? But all you can do is just have enough conviction and actually go and take the punt, and then connect the dots on the way back and see how you've done. But yeah, no, thanks for sharing that.